Welcome to the Ranu and Duran podcast show. I'm Duran.
And I'm Ranu. I got to say something before I'm always gonna ask you this question. Have you seen any new movies? And if you haven't, I have a movie for you to watch.
I didn't, although I have started watching Loki on Disney Plus.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about it right now, but I'll ask you later about what your thoughts about it, and especially when you're done. But I have a movie if you haven't, and I might have butchered this name. I'm probably going to butcher this name. Malignant. It's out on HBO Max now, and it is insane. You might want to check it out. If you ever like somebody fighting backwards, you might like this. Yeah. So definitely check it out. And if anybody haven't checked it out yet, please check it out. It is insane. And let us know down in the comment section of this video what you guys think about it. But I definitely wanted to at least ask because I'm always finding these weird movies and it's different. And I'm just like, what the heck? So literally, I need to know your thoughts on that when you do see it. But definitely go check it out. And definitely next time I would like to know your next episode, I'd like to know your opinion on Loki. But go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, have you watched? I think it's on Hulu. They have a thing with Nicole Kidman, some new TV show where she's supposedly Russian, worst Russian accent ever, by the way. She's supposed to be this therapist kind of lady for this group of, I think it's 9 strangers, or strangers is in the name. I don't pay attention to titles of things or which service it's on, which is always a travesty because I can never remember which one. But have you seen that one?
The Nine Perfect Strangers.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, no, I haven't. It's on my list to watch.
Okay. Well,
yeah, you started watching it, didn't you?
I did. Her accent is so bad, and she's so in and out. She gets it, and then it disappears, and then it comes back, and then it disappears. And I'm like, just either decide whether or not you're going to have an accent and stick with it. Stick with it.
So irritating you that bad, huh?
That really it takes me out. You sit there and you watch. I'm used to bad fake Russian accents, but it really takes me out. And I'm listening to it and I'm going, you're pulling me out of whatever fantasy this is supposed to be. Just pick it and stick with it. If you want to sit there and not have it, fine, whatever. That's actually less annoying than going in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Like that would annoy the hell out of me. You know, some people are not good for certain positions like roles. I don't.
Yeah, yeah. It is interesting because they have some, I'm gonna say B actors and actresses, and actually some of them do pretty well. Some of them do pretty well. But it's funny because you have one woman who's usually in comedic roles, and she's in a more serious role, which actually ties in well with some of what we're going to talk about because she fell victim to a scam that milked her for a lot of her money. And that, of course, made her untrusting and a whole bunch of other stuff. But the show itself was interesting enough. I don't want to spoil any of it other than to say I wish in any of these things where someone is supposed to have an accent, either one, they actually give an accent, or two, they set it and stick with it kind of deal. Even if it's bad, just stick with it. If that's what you're going to do, stick with it. Don't be in and out. And if you can't hold it, don't do it. Don't do it.
How about not give them the role at all?
Right.
And that
Right.
way we don't have to deal with the horrible accent.
That's right. That's so true. That is so true. I mean, it's not as though we don't have a number of actors and actresses from the former Soviet bloc you could have pulled from. Yes, they speak differently in different parts of it. Ukraine, for example, has a different dialect than Russia, and even within Russia, you have a lot of different dialects. But at least, they had that girl from, I guess she's a woman now, who was in Black Swan, but she was also in that TV
Yeah,
show, that 70s show or whatever. I never watched it.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, she's from the Ukraine. I don't remember where she's from, but she's from the former Soviet bloc, if I remember correctly. Have her do it.
Yeah, I turned that movie off.
Mila
I
Kunis.
couldn't I
That's
couldn't finish watching it. So
I,
thank
yeah, that was
yeah.
weird. That was
Sorry,
weird.
me. Sorry, I didn't finish watching it. So
Uh,
too bad.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it either.
It
And
was like a generic movie to me. It
it
was like
was.
like those hand me down, like watered down movies. Yeah.
Actually, I did watch a movie, and it was so bad I blocked it out of my mind. Do you remember? I commented. I sent you some texts about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh wow.
Mortal Kombat. I
Yeah, I
watched
know.
Mortal Kombat. See, I waited for it to come out on DVD. I got it from the library, and I was so unhappy with it.
I I at least like the Scorpion character, but
Oh, I liked
mm,
Scorpion, but I love Scorpion, so.
I love Scorpion. I liked it some of the people, but I didn't really like it. Like I knew that you wasn't gonna like it. That's why I said, okay, I wanted to know your opinion because they screwed that up. They had some good actors, but they screwed it up, and they also screwed it up with this random ass character. I forgot his name, and I ain't seen it in a while. But the main character.
Hmm.
They screwed it. Why?
Yeah, but that was one of my biggest complaints was they rewrote the whole thing. Everything that the game and the prior movies, the story was completely destroyed. They switched the actual race of a bunch of the people. And yes, it was nice to see some of these ultra famous Hong Kong actors. That was neat. That was good. But why did we change the literal race of Raiden? And then
Yeah,
suddenly he's not this white haired elderly man. And the timeline was completely mucked up. The Sonya thing didn't make any sense. None of it made sense. It didn't go with everything else. This was a prequel and it was done wrong. Prequels usually are, but it was done wrong. It was horrible. And how Jax lost his arms is not, it was incongruent with the previous games, etc. It made no sense. No
like
sense.
that. It was messed up from the start when they added that one dude in there. I'm sorry, and he was a
Yes.
sucky MMA fighter.
Yes.
Um, he got his ass whooped all around that thing, but it did not make sense. I didn't like it,
Yeah.
and I would have preferred them. I don't know if you've seen Scorpion, the I think the Legend thing. It's a cartoon, but I would have preferred them to go off of that. Just follow that. That was a really good cartoon. I'll send you a link to it so you can check it out. But it was a really good cartoon. It was awesome. A lot of blood, by the way, gory. Not for kids,
Well,
but
Scorpion. Yeah. Yes.
yeah,
That's
but it
important.
was really, really, really good cartoon. I would have preferred them to go off that if they really wanted to tell the Scorpion and Sub Zero story.
Hmm.
That would have been amazing. But this was horrible. Even Kung Lao was horrible.
Hmm.
What the hell? And Kung Lao is one of my favorites too. And I was like, oh my god, they screwed it up.
Why was Kung Lao European?
Yeah, yes. Oh, no, I thought I was the only.
That was the thing is I sat there and I was complaining. They switched the race of a whole bunch of the people. They threw in this Cole or whatever his name was.
Yeah,
Where is he?
Cole is a new character and
Yeah.
nobody. That's what I
Yes.
was saying.
Yes.
Cole messed up the whole story.
Yes. Liu Kang was supposed to be the chosen one, but now Cole is? That made no sense. And Cole's running around. And how Scorpion, oh, well, he's in what was effectively hell this whole period of time. And then he comes. Oh, oh, it
Why
made
why
no sense.
couldn't they just use Johnny Cage?
Yes.
That would have been a
Yes.
good one to
That,
start off if that's what they wanted to do.
yes. Cole is basically just a bad Scorpion.
Yeah.
And the fight, Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, it took two Scorpions to beat up Sub-Zero. I'm sorry, Scorpion is just, he's better than that.
Yeah, no, and I that's one of my favorites. So I was just I thought that because they showed Johnny Cage on the picture, I thought he was going to meet up with Johnny Cage,
Yes.
but I would have preferred them to start off with Johnny Cage if that was the case. Because the first one started off with Liu Kang. This one, if they wanted to make it different, start off with Johnny Cage. But why Cole? I don't even know who the hell Cole is. Cole, they seemed like they were trying to get a character that was down to earth that could resonate with the audience, but they grew that shit up.
Mhm.
That did not resonate at all.
No.
I thought Cole sucked, and I don't even know why Cole was in there. I was just like, please go, Cole, go. But I didn't like it. There's another messed up situation where they messed up another good, legendary, game, movie, whatever. And then I don't know if you noticed, but Matrix Resurrection, I feel like that's going to be horrible. I'm hoping that it comes out to be better than what I think, but the why leave if it ain't broken, don't fix
Yes.
it. Let
Yes.
it be.
Well, and I think a large part of the problem is right now. So when I was growing up, they were largely pandering to two groups. It was the World War II group and the baby boomers. And so everything was a remake of that, of the stuff from then. And now they're pandering to the millennials. So everything is a remake of what millennials grew up with, which is why you're seeing what you're seeing. And quite frankly, first and foremost, I hate nostalgia. Nostalgia does not work on me. In fact, I look at it and I'm going, yeah, I hated that show. I hated that show. And if I watch it now, it was even worse. It's even worse now than it was back then, which is saying a lot because most of the stuff from back then was terrible. I hated Tom and Jerry. I hated Looney Tunes. Tweety Bird, you'd have all these girls who would come into school and they'd be doing like Tweety Bird impressions, and I'm like, that's not cute. That's annoying. You're immature, and that's annoying. And I just
A lot of times they don't understand that.
no, no. And there's a big difference. And then everyone would imitate like the Rugrats. Oh, I hated the Rugrats. And talking like that. That's not how babies talk. And the baby talk that you hear, just I never did baby talk with my children. I don't know about you.
No,
I
I
didn't.
don't.
My wife didn't, and I would not put up with baby talk. Uh, And my
No
wife,
baby.
oh, please, please, please.
No, I was just saying no baby talk.
See, and my wife works at daycares, and what I will tell you is the children who get baby talk to are the ones who have speech problems the longest, typically. Not always. I mean, there are different reasons why children have speech issues. Sometimes that there is an actual physical issue. But in many cases, it's encouraged by the parents because the parents sat there and use that baby talk with the child. And those children tend to be very immature even as they grow older into their teenage years. Anyway, so in today's episode, actually, we're going to talk a little bit about some scams tied to Instagram and other largely mobile based services. And when we talk mobile based services, of course, we're talking Instagram, TikTok, and things of that nature, where for the vast majority of the time, the users are on cell phones. And there's a reason why we're specifically pulling out those. So Ron, you'll hear as a bit of a story to
Yeah,
provide some
good old Ronnie.
background.
So, um, as of lately, there's been uh, basically an Instagram, Facebook. What's the other one? I think those are the major two that I've seen so far. But Facebook and Instagram, that they have a scam going around, and a lot of the scams are, especially if you have, or you're a celebrity or athlete, or you have you're some type of figure in the community or just in the world in general. If you have a lot of millions of views or a lot of followers, basically they're out for your account. So these scams are literally they'll send you links, and I don't know what the actual scam was. This one was a different one, but normally they'll send you links. They'll ask you to go to these links, or they'll find out things that you're interested in, and maybe you might be interested in Bitcoin. That's the most popular one, the Bitcoin scam. You might be interested in Bitcoin and want to flip your cash and make more money and think that you can make $10,000. And this seems very interesting. You may even think it's coming from your friend. Maybe their account got hacked, and then you fall for it. You go to this link, you sign in, They get your credentials, and then they sign into your account, and then they change everything, two-factor authentication, boom, you're done. Now you can't get your account back. Now they're verified as you or seem to be you, and it's harder to get your account back. And that's just one of the scams that they've been running through Facebook and Instagram. And this is a really, really big scam, and they make a lot of money on this on the market, and they use that to sell back accounts, not only to sell your friends the same scam and then hack their account, but they'll take all those accounts and then sell them to other people
Right.
and make money off of it. And now you've lost your account, especially if you have 1 million followers or the thousands of followers or whatever. And that's how you make your money on your account. So that is one of the biggest scams right now. And a story to tell is, like I said, one of them, somebody I know basically is an athlete, and they were fooled into thinking the Bitcoin, thing would work, and they could buy Bitcoins and flip their cash, really quickly. And literally, they got fished, and the person took over their account the same method I was telling you. But basically, now she's trying to get her account back, and she can't. And the biggest problem with this whole thing is that it's easier for the attacker to hack you, but it's harder for you to get your account back. And Instagram and Facebook doesn't make it easy to do that. And the way they follow their policies, and I know they're trying to make it secure, but it's just there's something wrong with that process. And a lot of people come to me all the time asking, how do I get my account back? And I have to tell them that you have to go through the normal procedures that Instagram or Facebook, wants you to follow in order to get your account back. And even if you go through those procedures, there's no guarantee you're going to get your account back. So you pretty much are SOL. You lost your account and you have no way to get it back. So today we would like to talk about, multiple different scams, but also some of the techniques you can use to actually prevent that from happening in the future.
So it's interesting to me because in a lot of cases, the emphasis has been on these systems that are largely cell phone based now. And there are actually a large variety of reasons why they're doing that. And one of the keys is depending on how they're running this. I'll give you a good example. If I compromise your cell phone and now I want to break into the different accounts that you have, be it Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever makes you happy. Usually you have that on your cell phone. And it's much easier for me to reset your credentials if I gain access then, because if I am resetting your credentials or trying to move everything over to me, you also probably have your email on your phone. And that's the email that these things are hooked up to. And these things probably have, if they're using, it's really two-step, but they would tell you it's two-factor, and there's a big difference. If you're using that two-step authentication where they text your cell phone with some unique code, well, if I've compromised your cell phone, I can see the messages that are coming across. Or if your messages go through Facebook Messenger and I've compromised your Messenger account, I can see that message coming across because it gets shunted into there. So it makes it much easier for me, an attacker who's gained that foothold in Facebook or in your cell phone or what have you, to then start resetting everything. I've seen this with banks too. So if they get a hold of a cell phone, speaking of selling stuff, if they get a hold of your cell phone and you have your banking application tied to it as well, then all hope is lost because they're going to drain your account and they will change everything, and it's going to be it's another nightmare to get access back. It is interesting though, because like what you were saying, once they get that foothold and then they switch everything over, regaining access is much harder for you than it was harder for them to get the access to begin with, because they will go through and they'll change what phone it's tied to, and they will make sure the multi-factor authentication is enabled and all of this other stuff. And it's next to impossible to get your stuff back. It's almost as bad as Blizzard. I don't know if you know, but Blizzard, if someone breaks into your account, you're not getting back. Good luck. Blizzard openly states they won't give it back to you, and they won't give you back the stuff that the person sold off. I think if it's through something like Steam, Steam will, but only to a certain amount. And I mean, I don't think people realize, but criminals aren't. Many of them are dumb, and even more of them are lazy, but they're smart enough to recognize a good thing when they have it. And the way the technology is set up now makes it so easy for them to lock it down so you're locked out. And even if it's for a week, that's a whole week where, as you said, they're now spamming out these messages and everything else, trying to sucker more people. And so that they can grow the amount of enslaved accounts that they have, or enslaved cell phones, computers, and what have you that they have. And I mean, it's honestly insane the amount of money they then get reselling this stuff, reselling the access, reselling the devices that they compromise, and everything else through all of this.
Yeah, it's totally insane. I mean, there was a reference of an article where it said that in the black market, especially depending on how many followers you have, if you have 1 million followers, they can make a lot of money. We're talking about in the thousands, 100 grand, 500 grand. It all depends on how much the value is. And if it's a celebrity, you're talking about in the millions.
Yeah.
People pay a lot of money for these accounts, and it's just crazy how people are not aware of how to protect their account. And it's easier for the attackers because they understand this,
Yeah.
but normal people don't. So, as I was telling the individual that, one, they needed to make sure. Now, here's my thoughts. I told them that they needed to have another recovery account, because that way, and now I notice on most accounts like Instagram, you can have another recovery account, which that person won't see. So I can have that tied to my Google account, which would go to my other account, which I can send that data back before they try to change it. So I always tell them to have a backup recovery account. I always say, you know, use two-factor authentication, not two-step authentication. They do have the option, but most people don't know the difference between the two. Like you said, if somebody hacks your phone, then you pretty much they have everything.
Right.
So, use two-step and then use a stronger, complex password, so nobody can get to, and don't use the same password on every account. If if I was an attacker and I got on and I hacked your phone, I got into all your Instagram accounts, what do you think I'm going to do next? I'm going to try everything you have and see if I can use that password for everything. And then
Right.
more than likely, I've got the golden keys I got the key to the kingdom. I got everything. I got your phone. I mean, how many people use the same email password for their phone records? You can get in your phone thing for like T-Mobile or Verizon now and set up an account, get in there and see all their phone logs, see the emails, the school emails and stuff. I mean, the same stuff all the way down, even the bank accounts.
Right. Right.
Insane.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, another thing a lot of people will do is they will sit there and tie everything to the same phone that they have their email and all of their applications and everything on. So what you have to understand is, if you put everything to a single phone number, and that phone number also has all of the software, then you make it more likely that you're going to get a massive catastrophic compromise. Because if I break into your phone, I have everything. I can reset your credentials on everything. Even if you use different credentials, I can sit there and set whatever it is I'm using as trusted. I mean, you cannot and should not use your cell phone as your web browser, your email client, your application client. And by application client, again, we're talking about dating and Instagram and banking and Facebook and all of that good stuff. Because if it's doing all of that stuff, you're increasing the likelihood that a vulnerability exists in one of those things that will get your phone compromised. You're increasing the likelihood that if your phone gets compromised, for whatever reason, in whatever way, someone is then going to get keys to that whole kingdom. And then they will start, if they have access to your bank, they will start funneling all your money out. If it's just access to things like LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, etc., they will start putting out. It could be GoFundMe's. It could be uh, what's called pump and dump. So you've probably seen where Elon Musk said that Bitcoin is going to be big today, and so what they're trying to do is trying to inflate whatever it is. It could be a stock price. It could be some really uh, Bitcoin or Monero or what have you. And they're trying to inflate the price so then they can sell while it's on a high. And that may seem innocuous to you, but a lot of this funds organized crime, or it funds terrorist organizations, or it's funding, shall we say, despotic regimes. Like North Korea actually uses a lot of this to get money for the government and things of that nature. So when you see something that's too good to be true coming from your latest and greatest whomsoever you follow, it probably is too good to be true. You don't need to run out and try to make all this money and see what you can do kind of deal. You don't need to click on that link. Clicking on links is a great way to get compromised, because a lot of these web servers, I mean, that's all they do is they probe your system for vulnerabilities, and then bam.
Another thing is to go for the clicking on links, is to not, the FBI or the IRS is not going to send you emails.
Yeah.
They're not going to call you either. Well, you might get some calls from somebody, but it's not going to be from them. They're normally like, it's not going to be no FBI, but it's definitely not going to be IRS. But, all I got to say is do not trust those things. If they send you an email, it's not correct. It's not
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
They're not sending you that. If the FBI is going to come get you, they're going to come get you. They're not going to call you.
Right.
They're
That's
not going
exactly
to notify
right.
you and tell you that, hey, I'm coming to get you.
That's exactly right. So that's one of the big things here is no police department in at least the United States or Europe is going to call you if you've done something wrong. They're going to show up at your door. Things like the IRS are going to send you an actual letter in the mail. They're not going to email you. They're not going to call you. The only reason why you would be getting a call from the FBI, other than because you know someone who happens to work there, is because they're trying to set up an appointment to do a background check kind of deal. And that's the only reason. They don't run around calling people to let them know, you've been a bad boy. We know that you've been looking at this or that, or, you've been a bad girl. You've been doing tax evasion. So we're sending the sheriffs at you. Why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense.
That's basically alerting you. So
Right.
You can just go and move.
Right.
Like,
Right.
that's a stupid move. So they're not going to come and do any of that. They're not going to let you know when they're coming. They're going to show up when they show up. And another
Right.
thing is, watch how many games you're installing on your phone.
Right.
There's a lot of people that install an insane amount of games, an insane amount of applications without knowing. One of the most popular applications that people usually get hacked by is the repost apps.
Right.
The apps that allow you that you have to log in using your credentials to be able to repost other, videos or posts. Stay away from that. If you can't view it, review it, or it doesn't look good, it's not always great. I mean, just because they tell you it's green on one side doesn't mean it's really green on that other side. So
Right. Right. And this is all no different than those you can make thousands of dollars while working from home kind of scams. This is all the same kind of stuff. And it's all the same as the Nigerian prince scams. And oh, by the way, those are still a thing and they still manage to work. No prince lives in Nigeria who's going to send you money if you send him money. It doesn't work that way.
Doesn't make sense. like the Cash App thing. Oh, I'm gonna send you $200 or $300, and then you're gonna send me to double that back, and I'm gonna double that. And then once you send the double back, you never get it back.
Yes.
They literally bribe you to to gain your trust. And
Yes.
once they gain your trust and they get you to send that big amount of money thinking you're going to get a cash out payday, then you never get it back. Then they're
Yes.
gone.
Yes. And really, all of this goes back to, once again, if it's too good to be true, it probably isn't true. You know, you see it with video game skins. You've got like Counter-Strike has a whole bunch of skins, and so they have all these Hell's Case and other stuff, and people will go through and they'll blow huge amounts of money. It's a scam. It's a scam. It's worse than gambling. You might as well just do online gambling. In fact, screw that. Just cut out the middleman. Just start giving people money for no good reason, because that's what you're really doing with all of these things. And in so many cases, what they really are trying to do is either they're trying to get your credentials because you feed data to them, or they're just trying to get your money because you give it to them thinking you're getting something that you're simply not getting. And you think the odds are in your favor if it's online gaming. Do not do online gambling. I mean, that's most of those sites are not reputable. And all of this stuff, watch what you install on your phone. Watch what you install on your phone. Most of the stuff on the markets is malware, and that doesn't matter if you're on the Apple market or the Android market or any of that kind of stuff. If it's on any of those markets, a lot of that stuff is malware, and the jailbreaking stuff tends to be malware.
It's here's the saying: nothing's 100% secure.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. It definitely, if it's written by a human, it's not secure. And I don't care if it was written by robots. Everybody makes mistakes, so nothing is 100% secure. So um, it's best to make sure, again, use true two factor. If you don't know what two factor is, you can go Google it. Um, Make sure that you're using a better, a complex or a better password, a stronger password. If you don't or cannot make one, use a password manager, or there are random password generators that allow you to make a more secure password if you don't have any idea. And also using the password manager to store your password, and don't store them in your notepad or well any of those things on your files on your phone too, because that can still be they can the attackers can still get those. And and don't click on links, as Duran said. It's bad things. Do not click on links. Do not fall for the FBI scams. Do not fall for the Nigerian prince scam. Do not fall for the Bitcoin scam. Like he said, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And it's best not to click on any of those things at all. And protect yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't need to download a lot of games. And unless you know how to analyze these things, it's best that you just not do that stuff on your phone, especially, I'm going to say this, especially if you have everything on one phone.
Mm-hmm.
It is best not to have that only for your business, nothing else.
Right.
Limited amount of application as possible. And that's what that's for. And if you're going to get another phone or something, like Duran has thousands of phones, get you a separate phone to do something else on that's going to be strictly for that and separate from your system. If that's what you're going to do, if that's what you really have to do, then fine. But I wouldn't do that on my main private, like my phone that all my business is being done on.
Yeah.
Same with computers.
Mm-hmm.
Same way. I have
Yes.
multiple computers for different access, different things. I do different things on different computers, so that way it's separated from everything.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. The computer you're looking at, shall we say, less than up and up, more adult material should not be the same computer you do your banking on
Yeah.
and work emails and everything else, which, oh, by the way, shouldn't all be on one phone. I wouldn't look at anything like that on a phone anyway. But you definitely don't want to do that all in one unified system, be it a cell phone or be it a computer. And I mean,
And just
honestly, please.
disclaimer, not to cut you off, we're not telling you We're not telling you how to get out of any of this stuff. So if that's what you do, that's on you. But we're not telling you anything. I just wanted to point that out. Please finish.
Well, that's one of the biggest ways actually to get malware is through less scrupulous websites. Pornography
Yep.
being a major source. Advertisements, of course. I know whereas isn't as big a thing as it once was, but it still is a thing, and people still go through and they're like, well, I don't want to pay for this software, especially college students and teachers, actually. Teachers are big offenders. I don't want to pay for this. I can't afford this license. I need to go find a free version. Well, it ain't free.
No, it comes with a cost. And unless you know what you're doing, and it's funny that you say this because I know a lot of people in the production world that don't use free, they use free software, they don't use paid software.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cracked things, but I always tell them like you literally have to be a security guy to really look at that and see what's going on. And I can 100% guarantee you that there's malware there. And even if it's lying dormant, it's waiting.
Yeah.
It's waiting. And I used to, I'm not even going to say anything, but I just say that you need to be careful on that. And again, if you are doing some things like that, and I'm not saying you should, but if you are doing things like that, you should definitely isolate your system and have it on a system that you don't care too much about. That has none of your personal data. It only is to do one thing.
Yeah. And is blocked
If
by all the others and sits on its own network.
Yep. It should be isolated strictly. But that's if you're going to do that. But we're not telling you to do that. But basically, all in all, keep yourself secure. We're trying to make everybody aware. And we also have other scams that will be on other episodes to talk about to, help people be more aware about, some of the scams that are going on now. And that way you can be aware and how to defend or prevent yourself from actually getting scammed. So this is our segment. I'm Ranyo.
I am Duran.
And if you haven't already, please like and comment and subscribe to our channel for more episodes like this and more comic stuff from me and Duran, and more information or stuff about some of the things that we're interested in, especially movies. There's a lot of movies, especially myself. I love a lot of different movies, so you can catch a lot of different things that we talk about, whether it's language, movies, or any of those topics. And if you have any topics that you would like us to talk about, please let us know in the comments, or you can email us for more information. Thank you, and see you in the next episode.
Have fun. Are you about to get attacked by a cat?
No.
Oh, okay. Just asking.
I thought he was behind me. I was about to say, oh, no, I'm not even going to say what I was going to say, but yeah. No, I'm not. I was actually messing with the lights.
Oh. Well, the lighting's actually pretty okay today, which is probably because you got that big sign there.
Yeah, I'm dying. I am like literally hot and dying, and I'm like I trying to turn it down a little bit so I won't die. So if anybody sees me pass out, you know that I was dying because of the lights. Yeah, I'm trying to step away from the light. Trying to step away from the light.
You're supposed to step toward the light, Ronald.
Oh man, nobody told me that. But yeah.
So it is